like to welcome everybody to the Hutchinson City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. I am running the meeting because Gary is not here, so I do this about once every 18 months, so just bear with me. All right, Matt, do we have any additions to the agenda?
Mayor, Council, no additions or corrections.
All right, so then we're looking for a motion to approve the council agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Pat and a second by Mary. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, I do not see anybody for the invocation, so we will have a brief moment of silence. All right, if I could everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we have recognition of gifts, donations, and community service to the city. Matt, do we have anything tonight?
I don't have anything unless council members do.
Does anybody else have anything? All right, next we have public comments. Does anybody in the audience want to address the council? Nobody? Our approval of minutes. We have the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of August 24th, 2021, and the workshop of August 24th, 2021. Looking for a motion to approve those.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Dave and a second by Pat. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, next we have the consent agenda. Item A, consideration for approval of improvement project change orders. Number one is change order number 3, 2021 pavement management program, letting number 1, project number 21-01. Item 2, change order number 4, 2021 pavement management program, letting number 1, project number 21-01. Item B, consideration for approval of change order number 1, Jefferson Street Extension, letting number 10, project number 21-11. Item C, consideration for approval of city street maintenance overlays. Item D, consideration for approval of resolution number 15347, the resolution to sell at auction unclaimed property and bicycles. Item E, consideration for approval of resolution number 15348, the resolution to sell at auction surplus police department property. It's a squad car. Item F, consideration for approval of issuing short-term gambling license to the Hutchinson Fire Department Relief Association on September 17th, 2021. Item G, consideration for approval of issuing a short-term gambling license to the Crow River Cutters on December 4th, 2021 at the Hutchinson Elks Lodge. Item H, consideration for approval of issuing a caterer's permit to T Road Investments Incorporated on October 2nd, 2021 at the Hutchinson Event Center. Item I, consideration for approval of the City of Hutchinson promoting furthering fair housing plan. Item J, the consideration for approval of issuing parade permit to Hutchinson High School on October 8th, 2021 for the homecoming parade. Item K, consideration for approval of the board of reappointments. Number 1 is reappointment of Jeff Hafe to the PRCE board to August 2024. Number 2, the reappointment of Jeremy Carter to the Sustainability Board to May of 2024. Number 3 is the reappointment of Nathan Winter to the Sustainability Board to May of 2024. Number 4 is the reappointment of Matt Belke to the Police Commission to May of 2024. And let's see, L, we have claims, appropriations, and contract payments. Does anybody want anything pulled off tonight?
Nope.
All right, then we're looking for
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mary and a second by Pat. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We do not have any public hearings tonight or communications requests and or petitions, and we don't have any unfinished business. Under new business, we have the Hutchinson Kegler Group Incorporated's proposal for planning and design services for the proposed splash pad. Welcome, Lynn.
Good evening, council members. So included in your packet tonight is a proposal from HKGI for planning and design services for a splash pad. So it was requested by the city council for us to explore the addition of a splash pad into our parks and recreation system. And so it also was identified in our PRC master plan that was adopted in 2019 as a capital project that would also benefit the community within Hutchinson. So for those of you who don't know what a splash pad is, splash pads are an increasingly popular park and rec amenity that benefit the community, that are inexpensive outdoor recreation pieces. They do feature sprinklers, fountains, nozzles, and other devices based on the play features and the setup of the splash pad. There are a couple different systems that communities can input into their system. There's a flow through and also a recirculation, so there's just different types of splash pads with varying different features that people can choose from. And then, so in our master plan, there was 7 sites that were originally identified throughout the community as potential places. The PRC advisory board, we kind of looked at some of the sites that were identified in the master plan and kind of narrowed it down to a couple different sites. And in conversations we've had with staff and internal, is that we should look at a couple different sites, evaluate what would be the best site for a splash pad, and then get a site plan put together for those sites, or the one chosen site. But we'd start with 2, get some input from the community and from staff and the consulting firm to see what would be the best space for that. And then looking at just different options that we can maybe incorporate different park amenities into the long-term plan of those areas. Splash pad would be the initial first step in what we would want to look at, and that's what Hutchinson would really look at. And then maybe adding some future site plans within the splash pad to make that a really great spot. So looking at the 2 different spots. As Matt had mentioned during our workshop, implementation of a splash pad would align with our strategic plan as making Hutchinson a destination place for recreation, art, and leisure. So it aligned greatly with our strategic plan. And then also, like I had already mentioned, it was recommended in our master plan. So included in your packet, like I said, was the proposal. A couple different just highlights from it for those of you who can't see it. The project objectives would evaluate 2 sites and then also select the site for the future splash pad. It would meet with the PRCE board to present the project opportunities and seek direction from the board. Develop a site concept plan and engagement through the community to solicit ideas and what the community really wants out of the splash pad as well. To then arrive at the preferred plan to move forward. They would prepare the design development drawings and the estimated costs. Redefine the design concept, construction drawings, and bid documents. So they'd be through us with the bidding process. They would facilitate the bidding process and then the construction administration as well too. So like I said, the site plan and design would include amenities for the splash pad and then hopefully for future park amenities as well. And then just to kind of lay it out for you, this would start, the proposal would start right away in September, starting with the PRCE board meetings and then looking at some community engagement pieces. And then there is a set all the way through to, let's see, design and implementation would be March and April, bidding in May, and then construction oversight in June and September of 2022. And then the proposed fee schedule would be about $32,000 for the design, park program and site concepts. Preparing the initial concepts would be about $32,000, and then phase 2 for a total of $119,000 that they would work through us would be the design, the construction documents, the bidding, construction oversight, and then that does include some survey and project staking and things like that throughout the process. We do not have a comprehensive total budget at this time because this is just the planning stages, and we would use HKGI to come to those initial overall project estimates, but this is what they're their piece of the puzzle would be for a total of $151,000 in their proposed plan. So I'm here tonight asking for either consideration of the approval of accepting HKGI's proposal to move forward with a splash pad. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
So then would we be looking at, how long is the construction period for a splash pad? Would it be open late 2022 or would it be open 2023?
It would be going through and being done in 2022.
Okay.
You know, into the fall of 2022, depending on, again, prior material availability and things like that. I know we've seen
Sure.
with COVID and the demand of things like that. So it all depends on what the construction plans and their timeline that they can come through.
Yep.
So tell me this, Lynn, some splash pads people have to pay, some don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we need to discuss.
Yep, so our goal in conversations that we've had and with Park Rec Community Advisory Board too, that it would be a free amenity. We have a great water park that users do pay to use. This would be another amenity in our community that would be a destination, but would also be affordable for families to use at free of cost.
And I think that's the best thing we can do for our community. I mean, honestly, there's people who can't afford to be going to the pool. And if we have another hot summer like we had this summer, plus, will there be someone there? Will we be staffing?
No, so the great thing about splash pads and why they are really cost effective recreation amenities is because you don't have to staff them. We do have certified staff if we would choose to go the route of a recirculation system, which does include chemicals. So there's two different types of splash pads. There's a recirculation and then there's a flow through. Recirculation does require chemicals to be put into the water for treatment because it recirculates it as it goes. But we do have certified pool operating staff already that we have on staff, so we can utilize them from the Aquatic Center to the splash pad. So it wouldn't be any additional staff, adding staff. Their hours would be allocated out to the two amenities, but a little bit of increase in operating of chemicals needed if we would choose that route, but there wouldn't be any other seasonal staff needed for the splash pad operations.
Okay. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think our community would love it. You know,
So the 151, that would be in addition to the, we've seen approximate estimates of 500,000, that would.
And that would all just depend on, obviously, the two different
What you
types that we would look at, which they would help, HKGI would help us through that process to look at the two different types of systems, make those decisions. And then the size variations of how big, which would all go into the site planning, that would all make the cost, overall cost go up or down, just depending on how big we want to make it, what features are available and what we want in the splash pad. So all of those things would play a factor into the final cost. But this would be really overseeing the design and then the construction of it too.
what would be nice is, since, we have to always close the aquatic center early in the season, this could be running until the weather is not conducive to being there.
Correct. Splash pads can obviously vary with the weather patterns and things like that, but most typical splash pads can open up earlier, like mid-May and run through mid-September, obviously based on weather and how, the spring is and how the fall is, but yes, you can get
How tough the kids are.
And they're all based on, so they don't run all the time. A lot of them are button systems, so they're activated by users, so they're not running all the time. You can put them on timers, you can set the parameters of which time where they're running and things like that. So they have really unique features that make them a really big asset to the Park and Rec system.
So Lynn, obviously, we don't know what the size is gonna be, but just from past experiences, what are typical maintenance costs on a yearly basis for something that's not staff served for a splash pad, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so basically, the water, so again, it really depends on the type of system you choose. It's the water and the chemicals and things like that. We reached out to Litchfield, they have a relatively new splash pad system there. I don't know if anyone's been there. And just additional costs, it's only around like $20,000 a year to run.
Is that chemically treated, did you say? Or?
Yes, theirs is chemically treated. So again, they'll get those numbers too once we get into the design and things like that, kind of the overall operating cost. But it's pretty relatively cheap in the grand scheme of things, on a splash pad versus an aquatic center to run on a yearly basis.
You know, if I'm being hopeful, I think we're probably looking at a fall of 2022, probably more potentially. These timelines usually are aggressive. It's probably I think in a spring of 2023 where it might open. I think our hope would be the fall, but
Just depending on a lot of variables that play into it.
yeah. And just for the council and the publics, you know, what we've identified for funding is our community improvement fund, which has a balance of over $2 million. And, you know, that fund has been set up for, that's why it's called a community improvement fund, is for community projects like this.
Exactly like this.
And I want to point out too, you know, a lot of people, we have a relatively new aquatic center, and Hutchinson, being the community the size we are, this would provide a free option to those families, like you said, that can't afford to go to the aquatic center. And we really do have a large enough community to sustain both. Splashburn versus the aquatic center do really fit the needs of different age ranges. The aquatic center has lots of amenities for little to older. The splash pads are more geared towards a little bit smaller kids, but then also does give you that free option where if they just want a quick go run through and not spend the entire day in the aquatic center. They're both aquatic features, but they really are different in demeanor.
Like completely different experience.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it'd be easier for like daycares to pop in because they don't. It's easier to watch your kids because I think it's kind of it'd be a disaster watching 10 kids at once at the aquatic center. But like I think a lot of daycares will use it. You know, like my family's been up to the one at Litchfield and it's all user operated, so you just go up and bop the belt and then it goes. The one in Delano is also very nice, although that one you have to pay to get into, and that one is not like user driven. You know, it's just you pay and then they crank it on and there you go. So, but if you're out cruising around, the Litchfield one is very nice, and I would assume ours will end up being in the same ballpark. So, yeah.
Was this the only company that was solicited a bid, or did you reach out to others?
The reason we went with HKGI, they did our Parks Master Plan, and then they're also doing a planning study right now for the city as well. That established relationship that they have with our system already would be really beneficial, especially within the parks. They did our master plan, and they really see they already know what we have in our park system, and so I think they have a really valuable opinion on how we move forward and make it great for Hutchinson too.
The work they did in our parks plan was excellent. You know, they were excellent to work with, and no complaints.
And I know in conversations with people from all around Minnesota in the Parks and Rec realm of things, HKGI has done a lot of parks planning and then also splash pad planning within the last couple of years. So they're highly recommended from others. Even we have a good relationship with them already too.
I think I would emphasize that's probably the reason that we didn't solicit additional proposals. And I would say it's mainly due to the relationship we already have. A lot of times when you go out for those proposals, it's because you don't really know who we want in the field. And I would say we're very comfortable. We have a really great working relationship with them.
And it looks like we have the same two people working on this.
Working on Parks Master
Right.
Plan. Yeah.
And they're great. Yeah.
Which they can then hit the ground running, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So then, Pat, you can tell all your grandkids that this was your idea if you want, even though you're brand new, you know. Credit for it. That's what I do with park stuff at home too. So. You're the author. Yeah.
And I will reiterate, this was a request that came from the council. Actually, I think back in May when we started the budgeting process was to bring forth something. And so this is really the first step of a couple in this process.
And I have heard from people that cost is a factor with going to the aquatic center, you know, so I like the idea that they can go here with no charge.
Yeah. All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve or deny the proposal.
I would move that we approve Hutchinson Kegler Group for the planning and design services of the proposed splash pad.
I will second it.
All right.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, next item agenda number 9 is to talk about the Firemans Park project. Chief Schumann.
Good evening, council. I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come in so we can talk about our vision for Firemans Park. Our park We have it currently set up in phases. We have a shelter phase, then playground phase 1, 2, and 3. The shelter upgrades that we are working on doing right now currently. New countertops. The Parks Department built countertops that we installed down there. We're gonna do electrical upgrades there. Currently the wire's installed in the ground. We're just waiting for some painting be done down there before we actually get the electrical installed. New pathway. I don't know if you guys drove by the park lately. We had a sidewalk installed from the bike path or the current walkway that's there to the shelter itself. It turned out really nice. If you get a chance, I encourage you to stop down at Firemans Park and just take a look at it. We just had a work day this last Sunday. We were out there, the committee was, and we did some dirt work and leveled it out. We do still have some more work to do, but we're working on it to get it looking nice.
What kind of surface is on the path?
The electric service?
No, what kind of surface is on the new path?
Oh, it's cement.
Okay, perfect.
And then we're gonna install a flagpole. When you do go out there, if you do get out there, chance to go out there and take a look, you'll see there's along the sidewalk, there's a little bump out area, and in the middle there, we're gonna have a flagpole. And around the flagpole, we're gonna have a Maltese cross. The flagpole is gonna be in the center of. Hutch Manufacturing is donating material for that. Unfortunately, they're getting busy now, so that won't be able to get installed until next spring. But when it's all said and done, that will look really nice, I believe. Phase 1 of our plan is the installation of the first phase of the playground equipment. Have some pictures here for phase 1.
What's the weight rating on those slides?
If I recall, this is rated for 5 to 12-year-olds. How they, I guess.
Sorry, Pat.
This is just phase 1. Phase 2 adds on to it a little bit more. And then phase 3, the final design, again, adds more to it. Now, the cost for each phase, they vary a little bit, and these are just approximate numbers right now because every year, we're planning a phase a year, more or less. And with price increases, so the numbers that we have here are going to be estimates. I don't know if you can see that number, but phase 1 is $29,936.85. Phase 2 is our biggest phase, and that's $48,651.40. Then phase 3 is $36,523. With a total cost approximately $115,111.25. Again, like I said, these are all approximate numbers because we do know there's going to be price increases with annual cost of stuff. So that is our vision for the future of the park and our upgrades to the shelter.
Randy or Mike, so we're looking at 115,000. Where's the funding coming from?
Funding right now for phase 1 is we have $15,000 from the Fire Department Relief Association that was donated, and then $20,000 from park
Or replace? I think.
that were that's being used for the phase 1 of the playground. The shelter upgrades, we're using other funding sources from the Swift Foundation. We're using that up for shelter upgrades.
And the goal is the rest of it's gonna be either fire department or privately.
Yep, our goal is, fire department donation, or we're gonna be actively seeking donations from, businesses and, foundations in the town. We're hoping that, with the open house that we had this last weekend, we had, pictures of our park up. We had a lot of good input from, obviously, kids that saw it are really excited about it. But we're just hoping that once we can start phase one, just the visibility of something's going on there is gonna help bring in donations.
I guess for the council, the public who may not be familiar with where Firemans Park is, it's the park that's to the north of Wells Fargo, over by what's the old Shopco building. So
We think it's in a good location for a new park, just because of the location downtown. From talking to Parks Department, that shelter does get used by people now. We think we can get more use out of it by doing upgrades and doing playground upgrades there.
If your funding comes quicker, are you gonna move faster, or are you gonna still do it on a 4-year basis?
No, if the funding comes in faster, we would like to move on this faster if possible. Obviously, we're gonna do it in each phase a year, but if funding comes in sooner, well, we'll be happy to do the whole thing next year if we could. So, but, like I said, our planning is a phase a year.
Alright, so one idea I had was to maybe pull some money from the community improvement fund because the first phase is paid for, but to fully pay for the second phase. Because the first phase, like, I get why it's phased and you can only do a certain amount at a time, but if you do the first and second phase, it'll be a lot nicer park right away, and then it might crank people up to donate more. And I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but for $48,000, that might kick the project and finish it sooner.
I was going to bring that up and say, can we contribute to this? Because I think it's a great idea. And I think it would be nice if we could do first phase, second phase.
Yep, and the fire department's already done a lot of work, and that is a very visible park, and I think it can become more of a flagship park, kind of like Elks and Rotary have been, and I really like it when organizations do a lot of legwork on the front end to help, like the JCs did that with their hairball concerts, and the Elks and the Rotary have been great partners. Lions as well, yeah, so.
Well, I bank at Wells Fargo, and every time I roll through there, kids, they have that little car there and they have a shelter there. There's people always there having lunch, kids playing. I mean, it is a nice little place to put this. It will be utilized.
I guess, Chad, the quick answer is we can't do that tonight. It wasn't obviously on the agenda, but if there's a desire, we could add that to a future council agenda to consider allocating some money from that fund to this project. We did that, actually something similar with Lions Park. Lions came forward with a significant donation. I think the council either matched that or had we've done that before with other projects that have had some community buy-in, and to be honest, we've kind of shared that. I go back to the dog park. Somebody came in and said, well, we can put a dog park in the council city. If you raise some money, we will. They raised $11,000 and the council kicked in, I think, $40,000 to complete that. So it's not unusual for us. So if that's a desire, I could make that a future agenda item. So
I'm just planting the seed tonight, man.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just let you know. So,
but people can sleep on that. Maybe we can bring it back. Does anybody else have any questions for fire department?
I think the simple request tonight from the council is obviously giving them the okay to move forward with this. Right now, there's no money outside of the $20,000 that was actually already programmed and planned for that park. So,
Right.
All right. Mike's pretty charming at times, so I assume this fundraising is going to go pretty smooth. So.
Randy didn't even ask for it and he got money.
Right. Well, Mike, I'll have to admit, like, you know, I emailed you a couple years ago with, a fire.
Pretty sad looking one.
That's what I was just gonna say, like, the fire truck themed playground. I said, hey, Mike, this would be great for Fireman's Park, cause Fireman's Park isn't great right now. And then you come back with this, and this is way better than what I emailed you, so this is really,
Stick with bike.
really going, so. All right, so, I guess we're looking for a motion for them to proceed.
I'll make a motion to approve the Fireman's Park project.
Second. Okay, Mary, made the motion, Dave seconded, any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, guys. All right, so number 10, is ordinance number 21-825, an ordinance granting a franchise to Uponor HTI TDK Resinex, to erect a commercial sign in their right of way.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor and council members. Anytime that a individual or a business wants to use public property in Hutchinson, the city council has to grant a franchise, in other words, permission for that business or individual to use the public right-of-way. As I noted in your packet, back in 2019, the city granted a franchise to TDK and Uponor for them to place a sign near their entrance on Highway 7. I don't know exactly how long ago, maybe a year and a half ago, Resinetics also moved on to the HTI campus, and they want the opportunity also to have a sign visible from Highway 7. So what's before you tonight is a new franchise agreement for all three entities, which would basically enlarge that current footprint where their signs are to add an additional 30 feet to the footprint. So it's going to be going from 20 by 20 to 20 by 50 to allow Resinetics to erect a sign there as well. The franchise agreement itself is basically the same as what was granted in 2019. All three entities have to have $1.5 million liability insurance to protect the city. They have to keep their signs in good repair. If they fail to utilize that area for their sign purposes, it reverts back to the city. And that's basically it. So it has to be done by an ordinance. This is a first reading tonight. Under our charter, we also have to have a hearing, and that's proposed to be at the next council meeting if you approve the first reading tonight. And the purpose of that hearing obviously would be for the public to give any input as to whether or not the city council should grant the franchise to those three entities.
Apparently, go further north, the footprint rather than south.
Correct, yep, it's gonna be extending further to the north.
All right, does anybody have any other questions? All right, then we're looking for a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve ordinance granting franchise to Uponor TDK HTI Resinetics to erect a commercial sign in the right of way.
Second.
All right, so we have Pat with a motion to approve and Dave with a second. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. All right, next we have governance. We have the minutes from the library board for the meeting of July 26th, 2021. And then the Public Arts Commission minutes from August 11th, 2021. Lastly, we'll have staff updates. Mark, did you have anything else to add tonight?
Nothing else tonight.
Thank you. Matt?
Couple things. First off, Saturday, September 25th is our fall cleanup, where we allow usually two hard goods to be placed at the side of the curb. You know, one thing I want to clarify, because there's been some confusion, this is for mainly residential properties. It's basically for those property owners that pay a city garbage bill. So there's a couple properties in town that actually don't pay a city garbage bill who technically aren't a part of this. They're either a part of an association or something. And so this does not impact them, which I know is, we've heard from them. But, you know, as a property owner who pays a garbage bill, part of your fees is to help pay for this. And so that's the reasoning behind it. So if you are a resident property owner who pays a city garbage bill, this is for you to participate in. Just kind of a reminder, sometimes there's some confusion there between apartments, commercial buildings, and other residents. But that's Saturday, September 25th. We usually tell people have it out by 6 in the morning because they start early and get moving. So, and then last thing,
And Matt,
yes,
2 items.
two items, yes. So 2 items, please. And then last thing too, we are, I wasn't sure what the council's feelings are, but we are scheduled to have our annual recognition event. We're looking at doing something in November. Just wasn't sure with council's comfortability level with continuing to do that. We didn't do it last year, obviously, with COVID. But if there, I guess we're planning on it. I'll have it on the next agenda for formal approval, but I guess if there was some concerns, I'd want to at least mention it at this point, so.
Are you working on your jokes?
Yes, so. My dad jokes, so. Otherwise, that's it for me.
All right, thank you, Matt. Mary, let's start with you tonight.
Well, first off, I want to thank JJ for giving us these new chairs. They're great. I attended the welcome down at the park this Sunday, and I read the proclamation, and they had a pretty good turnout, and I met some really good people, and it was a beautiful afternoon. The music was good. They even got the crowd to sing along, and that's pretty good. So it was a good gathering. I think it will just improve over the years. I think there'll be more of that. The kids had fun with the piñatas, and the food was good, the music was good. So in all, I think it was a success. You're not going to start off with 500 people right away. The word's got to get out there. So that's it for me.
All right, thank you, Mary. Dave, do you have anything else tonight?
I really liked Jefferson Extension over to the, I can't think of the name of the street. Is it First Avenue?
Jefferson?
Yeah, that is, I go there specifically when I'm going to Ace Hardware. I drive through that so I can go through that little curve. But it's really a nice addition to that. But other than that, again, everyone knows that school's on, so watch for kids because they're out and about and they're not paying any attention for the most part. So, although I have seen some very due diligent young people stopping at stop signs and walking their bikes across the intersections, which I really think is great. But other than that, yeah, just be careful. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Dave. Pat?
I got down to the welcoming reception late on Sunday, but it was nice to see a pretty good mix of people there. And like Mary said, I think there was a good turnout and the beginning of a really nice, positive event for the city to host.
All right.
I would have one more thing to add, Chad, if you don't mind, unless I'm going to steal your thunder. But Friday night at the football game, the football team had their recognition for first responders and service people, and I think they did just a tremendous job out there that night. The flyover was exceptionally good and nice to see that type of recognition toward our fallen servicemen, and toward the veterans of the city of Hutchinson and those all around throughout the communities around us too. So a lot of strange people there. I don't go to many football games, but in material there was a lot of people there that probably had never been to a football game. In fact, I had heard one said, well, this is the first time I've ever been on a football field. So, and getting on the field, standing behind the players was a great tribute, and I thought they had a great turnout and a good presentation, and it was beautiful actually. So thank the school and the vets and American Legion, VFW, caring community for vets, many involved in that. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Then local medical staff helped somebody out that was having a issue, and
It wasn't too far away from that actually, but when someone isn't looking right at you and falls to the ground or was helped to the ground, whatever the case was, but yeah, immediate response.
yep.
And actually saved his life, I'm sure. So yeah, it was good that they were there.
Yep.
Immediate first responders. I know the fire department was there, and I saw Mike run for the first time, ever. But, I just thought I had to throw that in there, Mike. But otherwise, yes, it was well handled. Ambulance was there, so everything was taken care of. And, I think if you read the paper, why there was someone from Wasika that had, a few weeks ago, that had the same incident, coach or whatever he was, so, yeah. Thank you for your response.
All right, and I've received word that Mike has an update.
I have a rebuttal to the running.
Taking a lot of abuse tonight.
I am. No, I was gonna mention that, but thanks for bringing that up, Dave, as far as the Friday night event. And then Saturday, we had our open house. We had an absolutely amazing turnout. We had about 700 people there. We based that off of the food consumption. And we had enough for 500, and we had to go back twice to get more. So we had about 700 people there. It was a great event. The focus that night, or that day, was really just about 9/11, not about our department so much. So we had a kind of a subcommittee that just had 9/11 specific memorabilia and things up. So that went really well. So we're very supportive, or thankful for the support we got for the community on that. We did have a hiccup with the gambling permits from the state, so that was part of the consent agenda tonight because we were waiting for that. So Friday, in case you get any questions on this, we had to hold off on drawing the three winners, the three main prize winners. That's going to happen Friday at noon, and we're going to have that on. It'll be on the radio, and we'll put some stuff up on the website right away. So that's all taken care of. And then the second thing I want to ask or inform you guys of is tomorrow. There's a firefighter from Chanhassen. His name is Doug Foote, Foote. He is walking across Minnesota. He started on Sunday. It's a 200-mile trek from the South Dakota border to St. Paul. He does about 30 to 35 miles a day to raise awareness for health issues related to firefighting, cancer, mental health, etc. And each leg of that journey is the departments in the area are supporting him. So tomorrow, so I'm going to have an open invite to anybody that's interested. Tomorrow he ended tonight in Cosmos. He starts at Cosmos in the morning, and he will hit Hutchinson probably somewhere between 11:30 and 1:30, depending on his pace. We're going to have a little stop. As of right now, this whole thing is fluid. So, but we're going to have a rest stop for him at the fire station tomorrow, sometime between 11:30 and 1:30. For him and his wife. His wife is his support team. She follows him. So anybody that wants to come down to the station somewhere in that time frame, hopefully he will be there. And then he's going to continue on to Silver Lake. That is his destination for tomorrow. And then he goes from Silver Lake to Waconia and so on. So
he's gonna walk from Cosmos to Hutch before 1:30. That's booking. I mean, that's hauling.
I know. So we'll see. We're going to intercept him when he hits our fire district, just by Cedar Mills there, and then we're going to have a couple of our firefighters walk with him into town, and then again we'll have a rest at the station, and we'll have more that escort him out to Silver Lake. So
It's great.
All right, thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Mike. All right, I don't have anything to add tonight, so just looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion by Pat, second by Mary. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. Good night.